Hey, Jeff. Oh, you said, hey, Brian.
Um,
Yeah, I'm ready, I guess.
yeah, cool. So I did a podcast with Trent Cutler on Wednesday, and we talked a little
Right.
bit about the new Metageek Chanalyzer. Um,
Metageek, man. Metageek's
yeah,
been around for how long?
yeah, a long time. I've been selling. I was looking at some of my first orders. It's been like over a decade ago. So I
I
was
could I
selling.
could be wrong about this, but
Yeah,
from the time we started working together, were you selling Metageek back
yeah,
then?
something like that. I mean, it's been a while. Like
2004?
so basically they came out with a hardware device, the Wi-Spy, which is just like a little USB adapter spectrum analyzer that
Yep.
low cost hardware, and then they developed their Chanalyzer software to run with it. But it was really just a spectrum analyzer back then.
Well,
And
at the time, that was a big deal,
that
right?
was a big deal because yeah, spectrum analyzers were like big old boxes that you'd have to buy and thousands of dollars.
Thousands and thousands of dollars, right?
Right. So that was like the first affordable spectrum analyzer. So then the new so now Channelizer 6 has been released. Now they're not making hardware anymore. They're just using standard USB adapters, but it's not only a spectrum analyzer anymore. It's also it's also a Wi-Fi analyzer, which is even more important. So it's using the USB Wi-Fi adapters to pull like management frame data right out of the air, and it's displaying it in a way that's gonna help you troubleshoot your issues, right?
Right.
It also can use the spectrum analyzer, the Wi-Fi Clarity, which it's a USB device. I have one over here too. That so you can use that to overlay the spectrum data, but the big news is that it's really a Wi-Fi analyzer now, layer
Yeah.
one, layer two. So it's going to give you a lot more info. Now, the EnGenius Cloud gives you a lot of the info too, right? Like it has a lot of this
Yep.
info built in, but it also has a way to capture packets. I'm going to turn on. I'm going to share my screen here and show.
You're talking about cloud right now, though,
Yeah,
right?
EnGenius Cloud. So I'm going to share my cloud screen here. I'm gonna do the diag menu. Let's see if this works. Okay, so I'm gonna show how the capture works. Um,
I thought you were just going to show where it's where
yeah,
it
I'm
went.
not actually gonna do one. So
You're
yeah,
going to
so
go
right in
for it?
this menu here, you can basically choose wired or wireless capture. So I'm drilled down this one access point that's in the office here, ECW230 and if I do a capture, I can do a 60-second or whatever capture. Is there a limit on that, Brian?
I want to say it's 60
60
seconds.
seconds. Okay, so
Yeah, that's
so
the
you just
max.
capture and then it downloads it to the PC, and you can put some packet filters on there too, like if you want to limit the amount of data. But you do the capture here, download it to the PC, and then we're gonna look at the Metageek Channelizer now. So here I would just do File, Open Capture, and then that's the PCAP that I just downloaded from the access point. So with this channelizer, if you're on site, you can use a USB adapter to pull the Wi-Fi data. But with EnGenius Cloud, you can even Ruckus will do it also. You can download a PCAP file remotely, and then you can load that into the channelizer. So let's just look at a couple of things there. So then it'll do an assessment, and it'll show that like right here, I have 36 clients on this channel 6 2.4 gigahertz channel, right? So
Yeah.
36 clients here, and on channel 153 I have 3 clients. Okay, so I should probably try to switch more of those clients over to channel 3.
Yeah.
Try to reduce. I have a feeling they're IoT devices that don't have much of a choice but to be on 2.4. But that's showing that, so that's pretty cool. Then if we look at let's look at clients. First, we'll look at
Yeah, so now you're drilling down to the client level,
yeah. I'm gonna drill down to the client level now.
which is nice because on cloud, I mean, what we're doing with cloud is that you can look at channel utilization and you can look at it in a number of different ways, and it gives you percentages of how much usage is on that particular channel. Like if I look at 5 gigahertz, I can look at 20 megahertz wide channel, 40,
Yeah,
and 80, and I can understand like what the usage is. But this drills down even further, is what you're saying.
yeah. So So now I'm gonna actually look at my Tesla, which it's connected to a different access point than I did the scan on. It's connected to the ruckus access point, right? Which so it doesn't. It's gonna be able to look at the management frame data and all this. It's not gonna be able to actually look at all the data, right? Because it's encrypted. But so we can drill down to that client and then look at things like client signal strength. So yeah, let's look at that. Like I've been having trouble with it connecting sometimes. Like when I'm leaving, trying to shut the garage door or something, it won't connect. So look, my signal strength's at -85. So that's not good. That's pretty low. Man, I need to put another access point in the garage or something, right?
Yeah.
So
we need a genius.
I need a genius AP in there. So so then we'll go. Let's look at. I'm gonna look at another. Let's look at a client that's on the EnGenius access point. Over here, and this will actually give you a lot more data, right? Because now it's able to see into the full data stream, right? Like it's unencrypted by the AP.
Right.
So we get a lot more info here. It breaks down all the different, beamforming sounding report, management packets. Let's see, acknowledgement control packets, RTS, inferred data, whatever that means. But again, we can look at client signal strength, -90 on this client. So that's really bad. That wherever
that's
that client
really bad,
is, it's -96. It's probably barely connected. All right. What else can we see in here?
Yeah, you realize I can't see your screen right now, right?
Yeah, it's streaming. You have to watch this later. So then we can also look at like channels. Now these are the two channels that this access point are on. So we can look at the different airtime for the different channels here.
And I did a not to cut you off.
Yep.
I did do a 90-second packet capture on my home AP. So it goes beyond 60. It looks like.
Oh, it does.
So
Okay.
60, but
yeah, so you could send me that remotely, and I could load it in here. So yeah, so anyway, it's a really good tool. I just started looking at it, but we're selling it on the Keenan Systems website, so I'll put a link to it below if anyone wants to check it out. But yeah, it's only $500 for a 1-year subscription.
Right.
So
now, is there more than 1 year, or multi? One.
I don't know. I don't know if they offer that yet. So far, I've only seen. I've seen that it's $500 for a 1-year subscription. And this makes it easier. Like me and Trent were talking about with something like Ekahau, you have to buy the software, and then you have to buy the Sidekick, which is like this capital expenditure, right? It's like this thousands of dollar device that if your engineer wanted to assess a network, you'd have to mail that Sidekick out to them, or you'd have to buy one for every engineer. It could get lost, you know what I mean? Like, so being able to just use either the EnGenius Cloud or like one of these, $20, $40 USB sticks to capture the data is like a huge advantage, right? So I think this is a great tool at $500 a year. I think everyone should probably have a copy of this, right?
Yeah, I mean that makes a lot of sense dollar-wise to have at least 5-year technicians with a license, right? Because they're going out and they're either doing like site surveys or troubleshooting or something like that, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's going to give you that extra information you need to possibly solve a problem. Like you were talking the other day, you had a problem where there was a lot of access points in a house. I don't know if we can talk about this, but like just if there's
high level,
if there's too many access points in a house, you got to really look at drill down to see like what the data rates on each of the clients is, right? Like you may have to change the data rates, raise it up so that they roam more easily, right? Things like that, and this is going to show.
I think that in a case like that, I mean that's you definitely would do that. In the case that we were talking about, the issue is that the client was not providing any information about the location of the APs,
right? So in that case, if you did a packet capture and load it into this tool, you could look at to see what the data rates, if the device he was complaining about, is it hanging on to 1 megabit data rates, right? So then you could say, okay, maybe I got to raise that up so that the client device more more evenly roams, right?
Yeah.
More
Well, you're
aggressively
bringing
roams.
down the cell size or
Right.
the
Or
radio
lower the
size.
transmit power or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just like another
So
tool.
can we talk about that a little
Yeah,
bit?
sure.
So, in the cloud, in Genius Cloud, you can see client devices and you can see like their connection rate,
Yeah.
right? And you can see, the band, obviously, the rate, the RSSI, the SNR. And you can actually track the user, how they roam through, right? So
Yes.
what's the other things that what does this add to that
So
information?
I think what it adds is it adds that I'm looking. I'm actually going to show the. Let me put the screen up for the cloud again. I'm going to show like the client timeline feature.
Yep.
So if I look at my iPhone, it'll show like roaming, like when I roamed, right?
Yep.
It's showing when I roamed from one AP to another. So, and I don't know if I've actually connected that button, but it'll show if I look at another client. Let's see. Yeah, so it'll show basically when you're roaming. It doesn't tell you why you're roaming, right? So
Well, you hit that little drop down underneath, and it gives you more information.
it does, but it's not. Oh yeah, it's actually showing one now. Let me see.
Yeah.
Takes a second to load. Okay, so yeah, so I'm showing that. So it's showing connected to access point channel RSSI. So it's showing RSSI, not
Yep.
showing. It's not showing me the data rates, right?
Yeah, you would have to go get like live data rates or like
For that
yeah.
client.
It does not show you that.
So if we did a packet capture and use the Metageek Chanalyzer, we could look at that client device and say, oh, okay, the data rates were like they're at 1. It was at 1. That's why it wasn't roaming. You know what I mean? Or it was at 12, and that caused it to roam more easily.
So just a correction on that. We do show data rates down and up at particular times.
Okay.
So
Oh yeah, I do see
if
that.
you
I see
if
that.
You scroll through, you should see it.
Yeah, it shows actual speeds, right? Like I'm looking here, it's showing like 47 down, 337 up. So that's actual speeds, but you don't want to you want to see what the data rate it was connected at, right? You really
Right.
can't tell from that. And you guys could put it in here, I'm sure, but
Yeah, we showed we showed on client list, right?
yeah, it's definitely in the client list. It's showing like what the data rate is, right? So that's kind of like a way to by manipulating that minimum data rate, it's a way to make the client roam more aggressively. It's probably a better way of doing it than changing transmit power, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, this is a good tool. I'm gonna dig into some more. If anyone has questions, let me know.
Yeah.
And anything else you want to talk about this week?
No, I think that's a really good tool that a lot of people could utilize. You can really dive deeper into, like, you can pull that packet capture and that it puts it in a format that anybody could really read, right?
Exactly.
Not anybody, but a lot of people could read.
Yeah, they're going with the assessment portion of it. They're going for they're basically going to show you what they're seeing in that packet that could be causing a problem, right? Like
Right.
And that's without knowing anything about doing packet captures with Wireshark or having any specialized tools or anything. This is going to read that packet capture and tell you what it sees going on, right?
Yep.
So that's way more valuable than some expensive tool that you need to have like a ton of knowledge to use, right?
Right.
So yeah, pretty cool.
Well, it speeds up the learning process too. Right?
Yeah, I mean, in at the price point, like you said, your whole team can have a copy. So it's not something that you can get more exposure to it, so you can get used to using it.
Yeah, for sure.
So definitely cool. All right, guys, remember to like and subscribe. We're back next week.